Hello, and welcome to the latest segment in Inlet Asia's Plus series. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Frank Thiel, the Managing Director of Quezon Power Philippines Ltd. Frank will be presenting at our Plus series titled Optimizing Plant Performance on March 25th. There are still spots available, so make sure to register. Now to Frank. Frank, it's good to speak to you. Thank you very much for agreeing to chat. How are you today?
Thank you. Thanks, Melissa. I'm doing really good. Good to see you as well.
Good to see you. Yep, so going straight into it, can you introduce Quezon Power and your role within the business?
Sure, happy to do that. Quezon Power Philippines is actually an independent power producer. We've been operating this power station in the country since 2000. It's a subcritical coal-fired plant, 500 megawatts net, and we have one dedicated customer, Meralco Distribution Utility. So we sell all our capacity to Meralco. Again, we source our coal in Indonesia. We used to be owned by multinational entities from the United States and Philippines. We're now currently owned by one single company coming out of Thailand, the Eco Group. The name may be familiar to you. They have assets in not only Thailand, but also here in the Philippines and Australia and Indonesia, Taiwan, and in Korea. And recently, Eco also acquired a cogeneration unit in the United States. A major leap of faith, I guess, for the company jumping across the pond to acquire assets in the US. My role, I am the managing director for Quezon Power, and so I lead the project management team. We have three locations. We have a commercial office here in Manila, in Makati. That's where I'm based. We handle basically all the repertorial requirements, the bank relationships, the tax filings. One of my favorite subjects, taxes. Of course, paying taxes in the Philippines is very interesting. And we also do all the accounting here in this office. At the site, of course, we have the power plant proper. I have about 285 people at the site doing the operations and maintenance. And we also have an office in the town of Mauban. That's the closest community to our facility, where we handle all our CSR activities. So we have a very strong community social responsibility program, and I'll speak to that later on in this session. And something we're very proud of. And so that is in essence who we are and what my role is in the project.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Frank. And over your 8 years at Quezon Power Philippines, can you talk to us about what has made the greatest impact on the reliability and efficiency of your plants, would you say?
You know what, thanks. When I think about that, I was thinking about it this morning when I was reading the question firsthand. There are really a lot of issues that I can discuss when it comes to what are the things that impact the reliability and efficiency of the plant. I have to say, among the things that I count the most on, we have a dedicated maintenance management team. We do a lot of predictive maintenance, and I think that has been key for us in order to stay ahead of the game. Our unit is a single unit plant, and we don't have a lot of redundancy in our plant. So we have to be very careful with the equipment that we have. And being able to predict and try to avoid forced outages has been a key factor for us. So we have a very strong predictive maintenance team. And that's one of the things that I think has helped us be successful in terms of achieving the reliability figures that we have had in the past. You know, we also have a very strong CapEx program. I have actually an engineering manager that looks at the plant on a day-to-day basis, and he makes sure that we have, you know, all our CapEx activities being implemented on a regular basis. I have to thank my shareholder. They're very supportive. They understand the power plants do need a lot of additional CapEx materials, and that we have to improve things, that we have to upgrade things, that we have to replace things. And my shareholder has always been very supportive with that. They have a long-term view of the business of operating power plants. So even though we are an IPP, we're an IPP with a very long-term view when it comes to reliability and efficiency. One of the other things that I'm really proud of is the fact that we, years ago, we instituted a program called the System Expert Program. And we've taken engineers from our facility, and they have become experts in the respective systems. And they look after the systems day in and day out. And during the overhauls, they're actually managing all the activities of the contractors that are coming in to help us out. So they understand the systems through and through. They're really good at it, and they keep after everything that is required for those systems in order to ensure that they function properly. We have been able to achieve reliability figures over 90%, which availability figures over 90%, which are pretty remarkable for a single unit coal-fired plant in the middle of nowhere. And we're in a very remote location, Melissa.
Are you? I didn't realize that. That's fantastic, 90%. Very nice. And the session you're joining us for later this month actually is exploring maintenance strategies, which you kind of have touched upon already. How can these affect efficiency, and what are the 3 main points you'd like to share?
Well, I mentioned earlier the importance of having a very strong predictive maintenance team. I cannot emphasize that enough. That is a key element for us, and I think it's a key element for any facility anywhere in the world. Predictive maintenance is what really gets you the results that you're expecting to get. If you allow things to happen and just simply do corrective maintenance or breakdown maintenance as we used to do in the past, before long you find yourself struggling. Staying ahead of the game and doing predictive maintenance is key for any facility in order to stay as efficient as possible and as reliable as possible. The other thing that we do very thoroughly is we do outage management planning months in advance. If I'm going to do an outage in March of next year, I'm already planning for that outage today. I'm already getting our team together. I'm already going through with the purchasing people, with the planning department, with the purchasers that are buying all the spare parts, the tools, make sure that we have everything we need lined up months in advance. And we start doing these meetings every month, 12 months in advance of the actual outage. So the planning part and making sure that we get all the tools and everything ready so that we know we're going to have all the tools, all the services that are required during the outage is a key. It's a key factor. And we've been very successful with that. Year after year, we've been able to do our planned overhauls on time and within budget. And I think the key of that is the fact that we do long-term planning. We don't just wait, until we're 3 months away or 6 months away from the outage. We begin the day after we finish one outage, we begin planning for the following outage. And I think that's a key factor in the success of the figures that we're getting.
That's fantastic. Yeah, planning is definitely key there, I bet. Let's see. As a more sustainable power sector is increasingly at the front of mind for governments and consumers, how do you see coal's role in the regional power sector developing?
Well, I'm going to look at my crystal ball for a second, if you allow me.
I'll allow it.
I think in different countries, I can only speak about the Philippines because that's where I'm based right now. I think coal plays a very significant role. Most of the generation in the Philippines is coal-based, and I think it's going to continue to play a significant role. There's still about 3,900 megawatts worth of coal plants in the pipeline. These are projects that are in different stages of development. So I do believe that coal will continue to play a very significant role. Coal can be very reliable. Coal can be low cost, depending on where you're getting your coal. And so I think coal is going to continue to play a significant role, at least in the power market in the Philippines. We're seeing renewables coming in. We're seeing a little bit of wind. We're seeing solar coming into the place. I think the energy mix is gradually shifting, but I think coal, at least for the foreseeable future, I'm talking probably in the next 10 years, will continue to play a very significant role here in the Philippines.
Absolutely. Yeah. What I'm seeing too is it's just going to take some time probably before we get to fully renewables, and maybe will we ever get to that? We'll see, I guess.
Yes, it's going to be a challenge for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So there are a number of technologies available to manage emissions and increase the efficiency of coal plants. What will be the biggest game changer that you realistically see being made available to existing generation assets? Or will greenfield projects be more of a realistic solution if costs for retrofitting are too high?
There are probably several ways to try and answer that question, Melissa. When I think about what are some of the potential game changes that could impact the operational coal-fired plants in the future, the first thing that comes to mind is of course, carbon capture. Carbon capture is being developed in a number of places. It has been very effective in 2 or 3 locations around the world. Unfortunately, the drawback with carbon capture is twofold. One is the cost of adding the carbon capture proper, and the other one is after you capture the carbon, where do you dispose of the carbon? You require to have an off-take market for that. We can only make so much dry ice. or we can only bury so much of that in the ground. And for that, you need adequate subsoil characteristics. Being able to use it for oil recovery enhancement sounds pretty great if you have oil. We don't have oil in the Philippines, unfortunately. So our market for CO2 is very limited. So even though I do believe that a major game changer in the future could be the additional carbon capture facilities, I think the way that can come about is if there's enough government support and government policy that actually drives that to a degree. Right now, looking at it on a purely financial, commercial basis, it's very difficult to justify making the investment because twofold. One is expensive, second, it requires a lot of power, and third, you have a challenge disposing of the carbon. Now, switching over to a different view on the question is, obviously, high efficiency, low emission technology is going to play a key in the future of the power sector here in particular. We're going into the direction of supercritical coal-fired plants and ultra supercritical, which are going to be more advanced, lower emissions, higher efficiencies. We developed a power station here called San Buenaventura Power, which went commercial in 2019. Incidentally, it sits next to Quezon Power side by side. And this is the first supercritical coal-fired plant in the Philippines. We chose to go in that direction. Why? Because we wanted to provide the latest technology that could reduce emissions and provide better efficiency. And we've been very successful with that. So at some point in the time, technology is like subcritical technology that we have in Quezon Power may become a little bit obsolete. And maybe the government will start looking at the direction of phasing some of the older plants out and trying to bring in new greenfield or brownfield technology, aka supercritical or ultra supercritical technology. So that is kind of my current view of how that may actually evolve.
Great, thank you for answering that. And with regards to, we kind of were talking about the carbon future, but how is Quezon Power adapting to this lower carbon future?
Well, we're actually doing several things. We have a program to implement solar panels on the roofs of our facilities. We see that as low-hanging fruit, something that will allow us to use solar power to feed ourselves with during the course of the day and reduce our emissions as a result of that. In the future, and I'm looking at 4 or 5 years from now, we're looking at the possibility of co-firing natural gas in our facility, or even doing a coal to gas conversion. Now, gas is still a fossil fuel, but obviously, it has a lot less of the pollutants that coal has. So in the future, we may see us, switching over to co-firing with natural gas or potentially converting to natural gas. A lot of facilities in the U.S. are going in that direction. They're still retaining their capabilities to go back and forth between coal and gas. That may be something that we can do here, and it's something that we're currently looking at. We're also trying to learn more about what green hydrogen is all about. And can we use green hydrogen in our facility to, again, reduce emissions? Can we use ammonia, green ammonia? So, and we're actually doing a lot of research into that and working with international companies in the United States to try and help us determine, the sort of strategy that we want to follow going forward. And I'm looking at post-2025, 26 time frame.
Perfect. Yeah, we're definitely hearing a lot, I feel like, about green hydrogen. It definitely has a bit of a buzz around it. So it's definitely a topic right now, but we shall see how that kind of carries over into actually implementation. So we'll see how that goes. But,
we're just trying to keep up with that and looking ahead. And I went beyond that. I went to green ammonia, which is also the fuel. And we're looking at, could green ammonia be co-fired with coal, for instance, to reduce emissions? Unfortunately, and you're right about one thing, there's very little knowledge about that. There's very little technical know-how. When you talk to companies around the world, there are very few people that actually will say, yep, I know you can burn it. I know you can do this. There's very few. So that's a field that needs to be developed. But I think it's going to become more mainstream in the future. So we want to be a part of that for sure.
Absolutely. So moving on to the Sustainable Development Program, can you tell us a little bit more about what that looks like for Quezon?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite topics when I think about Quezon Power and the other projects I'm going to Ventura Power. I mentioned earlier that we have an office in the town of Mauban, which is the closest community to our facility. We have a dedicated team. I actually have 8 people there who are dedicated to the corporate social responsibility program of sustainable development. And our program is really comprehensive. I mean, first of all, we make use of a lot of the local folks in terms of jobs. We're hiring actually about 400 people in our facility from the local community. We help them set up a co-op, and we use them for many jobs throughout the power station and our facility. So we provide a lot of jobs there. We also have 2 programs for scholarships. These are technical and vocational scholars, and every year we take 10, actually 20 now, 20 students, ladies and guys, and we put them through a 14-month vocational training program at the Don Bosco Technical Institutes. These kids graduate as auto mechanics, fitter machinists, welders, and they go on and they get jobs and they help their families. We don't ask for anything in return. And this is something that the project has been doing for many years. We have graduated 290 of them already, and they're all
Wow.
gainfully employed, and we're very proud of the fact that they're all doing really good. We also have a feeding program. We actually provide breakfast and lunch for 500 children, elementary school children. This is something that we have been doing for many years, more than 15 years already. So the project provides that, and every year the numbers get adjusted depending on how many children obviously come into the community. But we are right now currently over 500 of them get breakfast and lunch, and we work through a local co-op to provide all of that. We have a teachers development program. We partner with the University of the Philippines Open University and the local government unit, and we have think of it as a ministerial type program where teachers go through a 2-year program and they gain proficiency in English, math, sciences, and then they go out into the community and actually better teachers. And we have that program in place already for 7 years. And we graduated quite a few teachers out of that program, and they're doing really well. Quite pleased with that. In addition to that, we do medical missions and dental missions. Every month, we actually go into the community. We go to the different far-flung places, and we take doctors from Manila, our own doctors, and we take dentists from Manila, and we actually go into the community and we do medical and dental missions. We provide all the medications for that, and also once a week we have an open clinic. We actually have 2 clinics at the facility, and one of them is open to the local community every Thursday, and we provide not only medical care but also the medicines that come along with that. We do cataract surgeries at the site.
Oh,
we
wow.
so we
Impressive.
on a given year, last year was a bit of an oddball, as you know, because of the pandemic. But on a given
Mm.
year, we will operate 80 to 90 people at the site.
Wow.
And these are fisher folks primarily. And when fishermen go out to sea, they get hit by the sun rays reflecting on the water, and it damages their eyes, and they get cataracts at a very early age. And so we take care of that. We actually do the operations at our site. We bring all the doctors. We have all the equipment in our facility, and we provide all of that. Recently, last year, at the beginning of the year, before the pandemic set in, we also joined Smile Train. This is an organization in the United States that does surgery for children that have split lip. And
Mm.
we were able to actually take care of 15 young children that had that, and the project pays for all of that. So we look after them. It was a very interesting program. It's something we're very proud. We're going to continue that as soon as the pandemic allows us to do those things. And
That'd be
last
nice.
but not least, and this is something that we have a very extensive mangrove plantation program. We actually plant a lot of mangroves in front of our facility, and we have a dedicated forester. So we have a nursery, and if you ever come and visit our site, you're welcome to come in and help us plant some of those mangroves. It is a great program. It's something that we're very proud of. As you know, mangroves are great to prevent coastal erosion, and they're also great captures for CO2. So we have a very extensive program associated with that. So lots of activities, and it keeps us pretty busy, and something that we're very proud of. We're a bit low key. We don't promote these things too often, but every time I get a chance to speak about them, I'm very happy to share what we do because it's something we're very proud of.
And as you should be. When I went to the website, that was where my eye immediately was drawn almost when I was looking at the program and the actual page itself. So a lot of great things to definitely be proud of and a lot of accomplishments there, but just also refreshing to kind of mix it up and also not only talk about business, but also the things we could do for the communities around us. So thank you for sharing.
No, my pleasure. And I do welcome the fact that you had gone into our website. We do have two. We have one for Quezon Power, and we now have one for San Buenaventura Power. You're welcome to visit both of them. You can see more details about all the things that we do with and with the local community.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Frank. I really appreciate your time. Please let us know if you, well, I guess we'll be speaking with you soon at the end of the Plus series.
I'm looking forward to that. It's been a pleasure talking with you. It's been a pleasure answering the questions that you put forward. Looking forward to the presentations and discussions at the end of the month. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Frank. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.